Seaplanes, the big seaplanes. Oh, when they first started going across oceans, um, say to Hawaii or Guam when they could find it, uh, their commercial stuff going across aircraft, they were nothing but seaplanes. One, because if they ran out of fuel, they're going to land in the sea. Yes. Any other way, they're going to crash in the sea. And they were used extensively flying cargo into islands that were off thing because you landed in the sea or lagoon. They widen and deepen lagoons for seaplanes. Go further, go further, go further. Uh, the Coast Guard is looking into buying seaplanes from usually Japan. They have all these little islands around Japan, a lot of islands around Japan. And one of the things they do is helicopters are nice, but they have seaplanes. And the seaplanes, well, yeah, they're made for that thing. They're made in Japan. And do we have anything being manufactured here? Well, that's a totally different world. So you buy them from our partners. And you also buy their crew members to teach our crew members how to fly an aircraft. And it's also this is also another thing is the Arctic oceans are opening up. And seaplanes will be a good thing on the Arctic Ocean by Canada and the United States to fly into an area and for rescue, search and rescue. And the Arctic is not exactly what you that thing. Russia has them of sorts. And you have to, because the Arctic can be cold very quickly and is a vast expense of water. And ships are nice, icebreakers are nice, but seaplanes can land on ice and water. And that's that thing. Also, it's for rescue, search and rescue. You will see one on the Great Lakes. Well, don't they use helicopters? Yes, they do use helicopters. But helicopters don't carry the amount of people that you can on a seaplane. If you happen to have helicopters can only work so far, and they can't land. Unless you want to put floats under the helicopter. But seaplanes can land, pick up people that are in trouble, and lift off. The Japanese seaplanes come with 11 crew members, has room for 20 passengers in seats. Now they're slow, they're like 300 miles an hour, but they can go long distances. Yeah, and the Coast Guard is looking at the Caribbean to operate in the Caribbean off of other coastline, and it's like, but since your seaplane can land on land, it's a very commercial thing. There's a lot of traffic in the Caribbean, and when something goes wrong with some ship out there, you want to be able to pick them up. Now, it's not like a helicopter, which can hover, that thing. A lot of little boats in the Caribbean sink. A large wave can go and flip a sailboat or a powerboat. That does quite a bit. And with weather becoming more dangerous out there now, the temperatures around in the Caribbean, around Florida, the water temperature is 90 degrees. 90 degrees. Oh, and what's the coral like? Dying. What's the animals like? Looking for cold water. In the Caribbean is all 90 degrees. What does that say? Hurricane. Big, big hurricane that will dump a lot of water on Florida in the Gulf states, far inland, which is happening now. Yeah. And one of the things, too, is basically they're saying that you have Coast Guard helicopters going out, but, with a seaplane or two, it can get a totally different thing. You can stop. There's a lot of drug running, that thing. I could basically sit there and land and watch a foreign ship as it moves along, okay, and find out what they're dumping into the oceans. Oh, yes. Ever see those little things with people go, there's a thing in Florida, there's really a rough area, depending on where the tide is and how many winds are. You get these gigantic waves. People go out there with their ships. They go out there in the middle of nowhere doing what? They're picking up drugs. It's like, yeah, well, when they come back in, the U.S. Customs searches the ships, drug-sniffing dogs. Yeah, they go out there, they party, they come back in, and as soon as they land, the Coast Guard, the Customs and Coast Guard are on them. Yes. Yeah, it's a good way to lose your little watercraft. And those beautiful little models on there, too. But again, things are changing. But of course, there's this thing. You have to budget. And we're going to buy a seaplane from Japan. And we're going to buy how to run that seaplane. You're going to take your sailors over there, Coast Guard personnel, put them over there. Unlike the Japanese seaplane, our seaplanes will have gun mounts. It's like, oh, it's going to rescue you, but they will shoot you first. But yeah, so look for that in the north. It's kind of like blimps, we still have blimps running around, but blimps are a lot different.